Who is Dean Garrett?
My name is Dean Garrett, 30 years old. It's my first year in the league. Grew up in California, went on to Indiana. Indiana won the national championship in '87 when Keith Smart hit the jump shot against Syracuse. Got drafted by the Phoenix Suns, the second round, 38th pick. Broke my foot my first year there. Next year, I tried to come back. They cut me and went over to Italy for 6 years and Greece for 1. Europe has been very good to me, but Europe was a place I never wanted to be. I've always wanted to come back home to play in the league. I was never happy. They treat you like a kid. Over there, they just believe that you need to be together 24/7. Everything is team-orientated. You know, I have a daughter, and she's not to ask me as many things I had to ask them to do. After a while, that stuff just starts building up, and you get tired of it. I felt they tried to do me some wrong justice. In Greece, we played on Saturdays. I don't see a problem if I want to go out on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. They did. So, you know, I got reprimanded about that. It was bad enough to where I had to leave early. And you should have only seen me that day when the T-Wolves called me.
Who is Dean Garrett? Dean Garrett's our starting center. Dean, you know, when he got an opportunity, he really took advantage of the opportunity and solidified his position into the starting lineup. Could he be doing what he's doing on another team? You know, that we don't know because no one else gave him a chance, really, and we did.
When I was a rookie, I wasn't as hungry as I am now. Right now, I'm like, I just want to play, and I just want to win. I know how bad I don't want to go back. And the only way I know not to go back is to just work as hard as I can here. I'm a rookie in the NBA. I don't feel like I'm a rookie, but on this team, I am a rookie. Next year, I'll be looking forward to, you know, the second-year veteran. It'll be a lot better. My name is Dean Garrett, 30 years old, my first year in the league.
What's he learned from playing for Bob Knight, playing in Italy, playing in Greece? Had to hold on to the basketball. Of all the players in the league with 1,000 minutes or more this year, Dean Garrett, the second fewest turnovers. Only the 35-year-old Michael Cage is more sure-handed. Look at that, 1 turnover every 57-plus minutes for Dean Garrett. By comparison, Akeem, Ewing, and Alonzo, 1 turnover every 10 minutes. When we continue, we've got our cover story. Simon says he makes this Final Four team even better, and it's hard to argue with him. Miles to go before the Cats sleep. That's coming up.
Meet the new and improved Dennis Rodman.
I'm the man, baby.
He's kinder. He's gentler.
Airball.
He just has one simple rule.
No refs.
Bam Bam. Rodman. Double Team. Rated R. Opens everywhere April 4th.
The boys of summer are back, and they're better than ever. At 1 o'clock, the Big Herd and Company take on Toronto. At 4, Ryan Sandberg and the Cubs hook up with the new-look Marlins. Then, prime time at 8, the world champion Yankees begin their title defense against Junior in Seattle. White Sox Blue Jays at 1, Cubs Marlins at 4, Yankees Mariners at 8. The opening day triple header, Tuesday, only on ESPN.
Cover Story is brought to you by Motorola Pagers. With a Motorola Pager, you know now.
Every player wants his team to succeed, and he would prefer that the run of success would come with him rather than without. Arizona's captain has walked a few miles on both sides of that line. As the Southeast Region MVP, he has led the Wildcats to the Final Four, but only after persevering through some insults. Steve Cyphers has Miles Simon's story.
When he scaled a few steps of a ladder in Birmingham, Miles Simon's long journey had ended. There, he cut down his ticket to Indianapolis, realizing a goal he's had since he was 8 years old.
I've been going to Final Four since 1984 was my first one I ever went to with my father, and I've been to like 6 of them since, and that's the excitement and the atmosphere. You can't beat it.
Excitement is a Simon staple. He was the one who launched the 70-footer to beat Cincinnati a year ago.
Did I just see that? Is that for real?
On a team that doesn't start a senior, Simon is the animated cat, the captain of the team whose jaw moves as much as his feet, a body language laced with confidence. Point guard Mike Bibby leads the offense. Michael Dickerson leads the scoring. But it's Simon who leads the leading.
He's very vocal, and when he comes out there, he just gives all his heart.
Miles is a coach out on the floor, and he knows that the younger guys look to him for leadership. And, you know, he's got to be vocal.
He's not going to yell at you and try to demean you for doing something wrong. He'll just tell you what you need to do and say, all right, you know, do that next time. Miles will pick something out before anybody else will.
I communicated to the guys early in the year that my type of leadership is going to be, I'm going to be in your face, I'm going to yell at you. You know, I'm going to do what I have to do to get your attention. And, you know, however you respond to that, no matter what, I'm still going to be your friend after the game is over or after practice is over.
For Simon, the season was almost over before it began. Academically ineligible for the first 11 games, Arizona's lone returning starter was allowed to practice. But at game time, he wasn't on, but rather behind the bench.
He was at every game, sometimes at a great cost to he and his family for him to be there. But he felt that was his obligation to this team, and he was leading us even though he couldn't be out there at game time.
He was always behind us. He's sitting there, he was pulling me aside. He's like, don't listen to coach. Just, I mean, because he was kind of getting on. He's like, just go out there, listen to what he's saying, but go out there and just play how you play.
You're not able to help the team at all, and you know, you just kind of grow up, and I think, you know, I just learned to appreciate the game more, and because it just got taken away from me so quickly.
Without Simon, the Wildcats won 9 of 11, beating North Carolina, Utah, and Texas along the way. He returned January 11th against Arizona State, but before the month would end, he'd spend 2 days in the hospital with the flu. On the court, Arizona lost 3 of Simon's first 7 games. At one point, the Wildcats heard Utah coach Rick Majerus suggest they were a better team without Simon.
It kind of hurt, you know. I took it personally. You know, he said that the team didn't need me, and you know, that's fine if that's what he wants to believe.
I think we're a better judge of our team, as is he's a better judge of his team, and we know that, hey, we'll take Miles Simons with us anytime.
I don't want to speak on his business, but being ineligible and then, you know, just having to come back and play at the same level he was last year, that's a lot of pressure for a young kid.
When he got back, you know, maybe our chemistry got messed up a little bit, but now it's back in the flow. I mean, anytime you're playing with a group of guys and you bring in another player, even if it is a Miles Simons caliber, then you're going to have problems at first, but we worked through those problems, and now we're, you know, gelled together, and it's working out fine.
Next, it's North Carolina. Simon knows victory over the Tar Heels won't come as easily as it did in the season opener. But regardless of what happens on the floor, it will be easier on him, because this time he gets to play, and he doesn't have to pay expenses. Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
Thank you, Steve. ESPN basketball analyst Digger Phelps joins us on what's going to be a very busy night for him. He's back here at 8:30. We look at Arizona's one-loss record, and with and without Miles Simon, does it necessarily reflect his value to the team?
His value is something that's a coach's dream, because he's the guy that can get in your face in the locker room, outside the locker room. And if I'm a head coach, if I got Michael Dickerson, he's not playing to his potential, Miles, get on Michael for me. And he's the type of guy to get into Dickerson's face or Bibby's face as a freshman and say, hey, this has got to get done. Do your job. Don't let us down. Let's go win. And that's why they're in the Final Four.
What does he do on the court that makes him so credible, though? Because you can get in athletes' faces and you can talk until you're blue in the face, but unless you actually put it up there, athletes at any level, whether it's junior high, high school, college here, or in the pros, they're just not going to respond.
He's like a more vocal Michael Jordan. Michael does it by action. Miles Simon does it by action. He can score when it's crunch time. He can lead the fast break. He can play the defense. He can make the assist. He can rebound. He does all the things by example, so if the other guys on the team have got to say, well, if Miles is doing it, then I better do it. And Lute Olson, he's just got to be a happy guy and say, hey, I got another assistant coach. He's my player coach. He's my force. He's the guy that disciplines the team on and off the court, and they win.
Is there such a thing as a young team anymore at this point in the season?
Well, I'm going to pick them as #1 preseason next year, but it's obvious right now they're in the Final Four this year. And after you play 30-plus games, you're not young. You're experienced. Bibby, hey, he's a man now. He was a man when he played in his first game when he scored 22 against North Carolina back here in the Tip-Off Classic in November. But now, after 30 games, he's got that confidence, that maturity. And maturity and confidence as you go into the Final Four is what Arizona has going. So it's, I think, a remarkable year.
Digger, thanks. We'll look for you later tonight.
My pleasure.
The NCAA championship for Duncan Donut, but even without a ring, Wake's big man rates with Dickie V. He's coming up.